grab your hot cocoa. It is time for the debriefing. Now, we have revealed our first part of the story, which is the prologue and chapter 1. We read those together because the prologue was really short, however, very powerful. There was a lot of juice in there, a lot of detail, important stuff. I can't give it all away. You have to be the story detective. Now you'll notice that I've already made a lot of marks in mine. So I already have my annotation key. Your journal has an annotation guide. You can use your own, or you can use the color codes that I created. I also have notes on the sides in my margins because there were some really interesting things that you should check out as well. I'll give you some of the clues, but you know, we do have the internet that is full of information. With an adult's help, you can find out more about like Santa's wife's name and the meaning of that, because whoo, was that mind-blowing. Already in the prologue, it was loaded, like big important clue. So big, I need a sip of hot cocoa. Don't forget, that recipe is up there. Now, one thing I noticed from the prologue to chapter 1, there was a shift in tone and in pacing. Prologue was, of course, the recap of Santa's life story in 4 pages. How you can put that in 4 pages? Only that author that wrote this knows. That was super powerful and super sad. But that had, I made a soundtrack for it because it had this movement, this emotion, this feeling, this soft sadness. And then we get into chapter 1 and it's just quirky. That's the best word for it. It's quirky. It's different. It's Juniper. It screams Juniper. We learn instantly who Juniper is. However, there is a juxtaposition that was also intriguing. Side by side, the end of the prologue, we discover Santa's wife has died. And then at the very beginning of chapter 1, we learn that Juniper's dad died. But that juxtaposition, we're taking 2 things that are the same, but they're not the same. And they have a different impact, though both very important impacts. But the impact of her sadness is not the same soft sadness Santa has, but more of a different kind of loss. I mean, she's losing her father, not her soulmate. So that was interesting. And then we learn right away, her dad was an amazing character in this story, and she uses his wisdom, which is pretty powerful. When she's faced with this bully, 1, she doesn't tolerate it. Like, she deals with it. She doesn't lecture about it. She doesn't actually physically fight back. She doesn't tattle. She thinks. And then that quote her dad said was, this is my favorite quote so far in the whole entire book, is, "Mean words are the fruit of sad trees." Which then also was like, wait a minute, Juniper's name is a tree. This tells me something about her dad. But then I turn the page and find out what it tells me about her dad. Turns out he's a park keeper. That means he takes care of the plants and the trees and all the things and the stuff at the parks. I'm thinking like a state park or something. Again, it is a fictional story. I don't know if this park is a real park, the London Cedar Park. But that hit me, and I want you to pay attention to this because this is a pattern. Now we have Juniper, we have Cedar, and then Briar, her dad's name, and then we have another one. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. But, of course, Juniper was born on Christmas, so it is kind of fitting. Her dad likes trees, apparently, and she's born on Christmas, so why not name her after an evergreen, a tree that is used to celebrate Christmas, and that celebrates her. So some really interesting things there. And remember, when authors give you like a whole bunch of clues, back to back like that. That is something for you to pay attention to. That is something that you want to make a note in your journal about and catch that as it continues to come up. Because if it comes up so quickly, back to back, that tells you something. We have Juniper's name, a tree. Briar's name, a shrub or a tree. Then we have Cedar, obviously a tree. And then he's a park ranger. Makes you think. Okay, so in the comments below, I want you to answer 2 questions. And I got them over here, so I'm going to look at my screen for a second. So 1, what do all these names and places have in common? I kind of already told you that. But maybe you're spotting something even more specific, because there might be something a little deeper, especially with Santa's wife's name. And I think I'll put that on the advent calendar for you. And then question number 2 is, why might the author want us to notice these patterns so early in the story? I mean, usually it's not in the first 4 pages. Like, that's pretty intense. What is that clue telling us right there? Okay, now, Santa's wife's name is in Sanskrit, which is a very old, ancient language. So that was one thing that was really cool. My speaker turned off. Oops. Listening to the playlist while I'm doing my reading. Oh, and I was just really into that moment, and so I drew with my gel highlighters because I didn't want it to transfer onto another page. Though I will tell you, the orange does. If you do it hard, the orange will transfer. The rest of them don't transfer, so you got to go really lightly with the orange. Her name is pretty interesting, and I have to grab these. So her name is Sarika. That's what I think it said. Like, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it correctly, but it is Sanskrit, but it's also Hungarian. Both of those make this very intriguing for many reasons we'll get into as the story unfolds. Okay, so it is a thrush or a myna bird. Ooh. Okay, so now we have a bird's name, but it's not just that. It also is considered a princess because it's Hungarian for Sarah. So that's a version of Sarah in Hungarian, and that means princess. And also, it comes off as the goddess Durga in Hindi. So she's got a very powerful name, but also, who needs help flying? And isn't it interesting his wife's name has something to do with flying? I don't know. I could be just jumping to conclusions. There are flying 2 of them. But maybe I'm not. So remember, these little details, these are so huge. They're so important. And you want to pay attention to them, because it's not just about the story. It's about the hidden layers. The story by itself will be quite interesting and quite entertaining. But when you get into these deeper layers of it, it's going to blow your mind. Don't forget to use your annotation kit and start thinking like a story detective. And I will see you in the mission briefing tomorrow.